Hello and welcome. This is Playing Favorites. I'm Paul.
I'm Justin.
Hello,
Chaka!
Justin.
Chaka! What is this?
Mwah, deep, mwah, beep, deep, 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 deep. If you have no idea what we're already talking about, it's just one of the many things that were added to make this movie, I don't know, better. But we're here today to talk about 1984's Dune, directed by David Lynch, surprisingly. Uh, we, we watched this together, and we ended up talking a lot through this.
Yeah,
Uh,
lot of like questions that were unanswered to me. But anyways,
sure,
we'll dive
sure.
into it. But yeah, if you haven't really been with us before, this is Playing Favorites. We generally like to. Lately, we've been kind of going through movies and finding kind of our favorite parts about the movie, favorite things about the movie, favorite characters. I mean, it was kind of slim pickings with this one, but still, uh, we generally usually kind of do that throughout a bunch of different podcasts and videos and all that stuff. So if you've been liking old movies lately, you're interested in learning about or reliving that experience. Yeah, that's what we've been doing lately. So go check our Anaconda one out. That one's actually great. So
Oh, yeah, well, they're all great, Justin.
yeah,
But yes, Anaconda
oh,
in particular
that one
is a
was really
very
great. That's to my heart. It was really nice. You know, like that was
yes, it is.
I like that one. Anyways,
Surprisingly, yes, we enjoyed that one way more than we thought we were going to. But yes, so yeah, please check out our YouTube channel. Look at our backlog, wherever you get your podcasts from. I mean, we've been doing this for a while. In fact,
5 years.
we're getting real close to our 100th episode. In fact,
Yeah.
it will be our next episode.
Yeah, it's our
Uh,
99th.
and yep, and I don't want to spoil the surprise yet, but just watch the socials. Follow us on X or YouTube, and just see when you'll see it when you see it. But we've got something special planned, very special. Another one that's close to our hearts. For
Full circle.
for
Let's just say that.
yes.
Anyways, before that, we wanted to do this movie though. I mean, I'll just dive right in because obviously Dune Part Two just came out, which we have not yet seen. We want to see.
But
Uh,
we want to see it together,
we want to
so
see it
we're
together.
trying to figure
We
that
saw
out.
Part One together in theaters with masks on. Right when it opened, the theaters opened back up again. That was an experience. But we were blown
Very
away
cool
with a
though.
new one. Just to kind of a brief thought, like the newest Dune movie is phenomenal. Like not wait, go watch that. Don't watch
Yeah.
this. I'll just say it right now.
Oh, okay. No, no, no. Stop, stop. After we talk, then you have to give your recommendation. Don't jump the gun too soon yet. You might,
Okay.
a certain kind of person, and maybe you're that kind of person if you're listening to us now, would appreciate at least watching this to see the train wreck
Sure.
as it happens.
That's why I went
So
to
if
it.
that's your thing, if that gets you, gives you your kicks, you should check it out. But
It's a
if you don't
historical.
want to,
It's historical. That's for sure.
yes, if you don't want to, though, Justin and I went to the trouble of watching this movie again for you. So yeah, you wanna dive right in,
Yeah. Well,
Justin?
it's again for you. This is my first experience. So like,
Yeah, yeah. I saw this when I was really young too, on cable, and I thought it was cool. Like I wanted to. I had only seen parts of it, and I really watched like the last 45 minutes of it,
mhm.
which is where a lot of action happens and like really fast paced, really like. And I thought that if I watched the whole movie, I would get all the story and I'd understand, where we are, why these things are happening. Little did I know I was terribly wrong. But it's got a plot.
Yeah. My
Kind of.
experience, just to kind of set the tone. We obviously both watched the newest Dune Part One, but I got into Dune with the miniseries from Sci-Fi. So like that
Uh,
was my entry. I tried reading the book a little bit, but the miniseries honestly covers it pretty well, and I just haven't had a chance to finish the series of books yet. But I've always been interested in this one because you've talked about it so many times. We brought this movie up before in a previous episode. I forget which one it was. Like favorite uh,
I
landscape
think it was a
or
favorite alien world or something like
yeah, like
favorite.
fantasy world. I don't know, but like
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's it.
uh, you were what you got me interested in it because how you describe the fights and battle at the end, and the weapons that they have. But I guess I know you have questions. Let's just start there, and we'll start answering them and try to dig through this movie. That you know
Well,
what?
look,
You know what? To be fair,
and when I was,
there are some good things with this, and I have some good things to say about the film. It's just I think the ending puts a sour taste in your mouth, so it's like kind of where I'm at right now. So
yeah, it took like 300 pages and condensed them into 7 minutes of footage.
sure,
That's what it feels like for sure,
yeah.
and I don't think that's too terrible of an exaggeration. It's probably like 110 pages worth of stuff, just like really crammed together.
Well, yeah, it's like
But
part.
that's to
Yeah.
be
Go ahead.
honest, what the first Dune movie, the new Dallas Villeneuve movie, is doing well is that it like the book, like gives you little clues, gives you some more information about the greater, you know, the greater universe, the kind of politics going on behind the scenes. So things don't feel as abrupt or out of nowhere as this movie presents them, as Dune '84 presents them. But anyway, yeah, I've been reading the books. I love the books. I have the first three. I've read the first five, but beyond that, I know there's like whole like you know continuation of the story of of uh, of the House Atreides in on Dune. But yeah, I highly recommend the books to anybody. Like the first two, especially, really the first three are just excellent, excellent, well written. Um, in fact, you could say, as many, including Frank Herbert, the author, said that George Lucas ripped off a lot of his ideas for his
That's
own
all George
movie.
Lucas did is he ripped off people's ideas.
Yeah, pretty much. So let's get into this.
He made it more
Just,
fun.
I don't want to talk about characters yet. One of the biggest movie sins that this movie does is that instead of showing us something, it just gives us internal monologue. There's always some
Oh
like
God,
voiceover
I
going
forgot. You know,
every time. Every time someone speaks, they'd be like, "Would you like coffee or tea?" And they say tea, and then in their head they go like, "He chooses tea, just like the prophecy." It's like, ah,
no,
for
no,
God's
no,
sake.
you did it wrong. You did it wrong. This is the thing we were making fun of the entire time. It's like they're always whispering in their head. They're trying to be quiet in their head.
That's right. As if we could hear their thoughts,
It's like
too loud.
oh, he wants tea. I wonder why he wants the tea. Why does he want the tea? I can't let him know. I want him to let me know. It's like what are you doing?
And to handle some of those internal monologue scenes in the new one, they have the Fremen language. So like, what's it? Train the train the what the heck is her name in the movie? Liet Hines, the planetologist who's like helping them with their suits. She kind of like mumbles something to herself in the Fremen language, though Paul Atreides understands it, so he catches it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, yeah, that's how you do it. You kind of like, anyways. But yeah, this movie's so heavy-handed with voiceover, like narration. In fact, the movie just starts. One of my favorite things about it is the fade into Princess
Oh,
Alia,
I was
and
gonna,
she's talking about Dune
yeah,
and giving you this thing, and then all of a sudden it fades out. She fades out,
yeah,
and then she comes right back in and keeps talking for no reason,
and that's her only
no
real
discernible
role in the
reason.
movie is that
But
character. But
you were like, oh, they had to cut. Definitely, they had to cut in
oh
between there,
yeah,
and
that's right.
they just had to like they just faded her out and then faded it back in. Like this is the opening prologue. Like, how could you not get that at least in one take?
But at the same time,
Anyway,
like, why? But here's the thing: like, they had I was gonna save that for like cheesy effect if you had that for our favorite cheesy effect or something. But
I do.
I mean, there's actually worse ones. But like, but yeah, like they could have just cut to like a planet or like I don't know, a person, a different person. Like, just they could have just cut to just different things, and it would have been fine, and just kept the voice going. But no, they had to fade in, fade out. Just
If you're doing voiceover, if you're choosing to do voiceover for a movie, then really like there should be one voice. It shouldn't be everybody's voice. Uh, That's
Yeah.
like really the thing that bothers me the most. So, Justin, I have a question for you. I
Okay.
know we can talk about the movie sins of this movie all day, but let me just ask you. There are some things that are actually, I think, and you think, I would say, are kind of cool. There are some cool costumes. There are some cool sets. Um, but I wanted to ask you. Let's start there. Like, who do you think had like the coolest look? There are a lot of cool costumes. The costuming, the actual physical things that people are wearing are kind of neat.
Hmm.
So, who do you think had like the coolest look?
A Sting
Which
and a
one did you,
Speedo, obviously, is my answer.
with his cool metallic speedo? It's got like
God,
racing
he's
lines on it.
no, I kind of like I think I like those guys that come in at the beginning of the movie. I don't remember what their role. They bring in the navigator, like those dudes.
Oh yes.
I,
Like part of like the imperial court.
yeah, I don't know what they like. Don't speak though. These I can't remember who. I don't. They didn't explain that part. They explained everything else, but I don't. They didn't explain those guys at all. They're just like random dudes that come in that are dressed like in black.
Yep.
Um,
Like space helmet with no, nothing,
like
just like
I
reflective
guess I just
surface.
like that whole beginning shot is actually pretty cool looking. Like the emperor and all that whole like room and the set, everything like combined is really neat. Like it was later on that it just kind of it sort of like degrades itself. But yeah, so I think that initial stop, like the costuming in that whole area, like whenever they're with the emperor, those costumings are really good. It seems
Yes.
like that when they're with the main character, it kind of lacks a little bit to me. I don't know. It's like it's not as great. I mean, the still suits are fine. I mean, I think that was actually not too bad a depiction for the time
All
that
right.
it was in. But yeah, I think I would say that I would say that the group of people in that first shot, like all that costuming was really good.
Hmm. No, I agree. I agree. Like I mean, there are some visually appealing parts of this movie, and that for one, really does set the ambiance. You got the emperor and his finery, like his imperial majesty type of stuff. Yeah, all the people that come in with the navigators, as you said. Even Princess Alia, not to be confused with Princess Leia. Princess Alia has got like a cool outfit, almost Nubian, as if she was from Nubia.
Nubian.
So, but I also liked I liked you could tell the difference when you were watching the battle. Who were the Atreides soldiers? Who were the Harkonnen? And you could tell the difference between them and the Sardaukar a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that I think was all right. The Harkonnens or Harkonnen, however you say,
Or
uh,
Harkonnen.
they're very basic. It's just like black, and they're like everyone is like kind of weird and just kind of icky to look at. Um,
Yeah, the Harkonnens. I didn't like. Like there was one guy that had like big eyebrows or something. It was really weird. Like it was what's his name?
oh,
Wormtongue.
Wormtongue,
Yeah, like
Wormtongue,
I
yeah,
didn't like that whole section.
Mentat.
Like I didn't like the way they handled what's the main guy floating fat guy name? I can't remember his name.
Oh, the Baron,
The
Baron
Baron.
Harkonnen.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Baron. I didn't like his costuming that much. I mean, the actor was fine. He played the role right, but like
played it to the rafters.
oh
Literally,
sure,
he floated up to the
yeah,
rafters.
like I said, they forgot to do more of the set in that scene. Like they just forgot the ceiling. Like they just decided, just yeah, we'll just show the warehouse. Sure, why not? but
He's
no, like
literally like a child, though. He's like, wee, like I'm just gonna
but
float up in the air for a while.
but in regards to costuming, what I'll give
Yes.
it credit is that when you have lots of people in this movie, because there's shots where I'm like, wow, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of extras,
Yeah,
and
it's
they
cool
do
stuff.
really good at making those extras all fit with the same intricate outfit or very consistent outfit. It feels like it's correct. It's not just for all the flaws this movie had. That's one thing that I think was handled really well was creating a sense of place and a world that these actors were in, and I think I give it credit for that. So
You know, because especially nowadays when it's so easy to just like multiply people with CGI,
mm-hmm.
yeah, like it had the feel of like a sweeping epic, like Lawrence of Arabia or something. like this, you see it, like when you see an army charging, like those are people, like those are a huge group of people like getting ready to fight each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does contribute to it. I wonder, if this movie was split in two the way the new Dune movies were, I don't know if it would help, but it certainly seems like so much is invested in the first part of the story. So much time of the movie, like 75% of the time of this movie is the first part of like the new Dune movie, is
Hmm.
like that part one. And so you have like by the end, you it doesn't matter all the costumes, all that, because just everything is moving so quickly you don't even care. You can barely see things happening.
I don't even
What
know.
about, I just want to ask you about like sets. I my personal favorite, on top of the worm, uh, that
It's
like
so
because
bad.
it's just like they're riding a horse or something. It's like
There's
no
no
wind
wind.
or
There's
anything.
no wind.
Just gently like, oh, so this is what it's like riding these enormous creatures. Like, pretty nice.
Yeah, it's not terrifying at all. The top of the worm. The worm. Like I love. I mean, I don't know if you're planning on talking about the worms at all, but like in any of your questions, okay, we'll come back to that. I have a lot of opinions on the worms for sure.
Well, I mean, we can go, that's all I was going to ask. Like, what did you think of like portrayal of the
Well, I
worms in
remember
the?
like my opinion completely like just degraded. Like that's really the theme of this movie is like all my opinions started up relatively like, oh wow, this is better than I thought, and then it just goes downhill. Everything does. Like, I mean, the only one that I thought actually went somewhat up was maybe my opinion of the actor who played Paul. Like, he still was bad at the end, but like he seemed a little bit more Paul-like, I guess. Like initially, I couldn't stand him. I'm like, why is he casted? But like, yeah, the worms were just, I think, were overused towards the end. Like, obviously, they do it in a way that doesn't even relate to, I think, the actual plot of the book, where it's like we got command of the worms and we're gonna take them to battle. Like, it's not supposed to happen. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess for
it
a
all happened
movie,
in seconds too.
yeah, I guess for a movie that would be, I guess, would be kind of cool. Like they, if it was like one worm, that would be cool. Not like a bunch of worms that were like poorly made and poorly claymated or puppeted. I don't even know how they did it. Like, were they just puppets with a hand in there? Do you think that's all it was?
I think there are definitely some worm hand puppets for sure, because there's a lot of scale shots like that where you have, you're like, here's this big background, trying to make it look like it's something huge. Um, but yeah, I think not even like paper mache, but like there are some models made, but they're very robotic. Like they're not even like animatronic. They're just like, this is something being pulled on a rope across some
Yeah.
sand. Like it has a very deep feeling to it. Um, but I will give them credit with sound design. I'm really trying to, like, I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Like I do appreciate like the thumpers and like calling the worm. Again, it's all stuff that just happens so quickly. Um, but there is a lot of time given to that, and like there's plenty of eerie music anytime the Benny
Yeah,
Gesserit
like
feather is on.
it's not like it's a poorly made. It's not like a poorly made movie. I mean, for the time it is, but there's some things that are poorly made. It's like it's very inconsistent on the quality of what you're experiencing. I mean,
Yes.
the production of it, I think wasn't horrible. I mean, I think you were telling me beforehand though this was a heavily produced movie. Like it was like really high. Like a lot of the producers got heavily involved in things and like were changing how the film was
Well,
made, right?
as I understand it, like they went over budget like almost immediately, and so because it says like a Dino De Laurentiis production at the very top of it,
Uh huh.
which you're like, David Lynch, Dino De Laurentiis, like what? How does that even happen? I think everybody's kind of confused why that happened. But anyway, like I think it was his daughter or his wife, I can't remember, Rafaela De Laurentiis, came in and was like, no, 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 we're cutting this, we're cutting this, we're cutting this. You cannot do this. Like you're way over budget. And they basically recut the
Mm-hmm.
film while they're still filming it and cut out,
Makes sense because I mean the quality of the things just seemed to like. I remember like the navigator, the navigator. Just to kind of talk about that at all, like the navigator, I thought was actually kind of neat design. It was really cool looking. Like when it's in that tank, it looked like an actual thing. Like it looked like
Yes.
a good depiction. And all of a sudden, they start using it later in these weird shots that are just so like him floating around, and it's like almost like my best thing to describe is that the navigator was pretty much I changed what my mouse cursor looked like, and I was just kind of throwing it around on my screen. Like I mean,
Around with it.
like like I don't know, like that it just like the quality of everything just fell apart. And I mean, and even like the inner monologue stuff wasn't as bad in the beginning. It got way worse towards the end because like everyone had to have something to say in their head, which I guess is real life, but but like
That's not what you're trying to do. It's
no.
not like art. What do you like? I forget what they call it. What the phrase is for like real life art. You're not. That's not what this movie is. This is an epic sci-fi, sweeping film. It's not supposed to be concerned with everyone's inner thoughts. Like
Mhm.
really.
Um,
But I was going to ask you what you thought the best kind of like, not necessarily prop, but like best effect was before we get to the worst special effects in this. But like that was
we
what I
try
wanted
to
to
stay
bring up.
positive. We try to stay positive.
But that navigator, like with its pulsating mouth,
Yeah. Oh, the
that's very
vagina.
David Lynch.
The
You said that right away. You were like that seems like it would be David Lynch, and I'm like, yeah. Like if you think about like Eraserhead and the baby from Eraserhead and that thing, yeah, you can kind of see like
his mouth was a vagina. I mean, let's just be honest here. I
yeah,
mean, it
I
literally
mean,
was a weird triangle vagina.
weird or an anus. I don't know. It
Yeah.
was puckering and
Yeah, but
pulsating.
it was a V shape, so that's it's more.
So the letter,
um,
like, yeah, be for it. Gotcha.
I never answered my favorite set. I know we're getting sidetracked. It's just this. That's the thing with this movie. We're gonna get sidetracked because it's so everything kind of interconnects in a really horrible way, and it's so random everything that happens. Like
this movie sidetracks you every 5 minutes, so it's okay.
my favorite set actually was when they're on the ship, and the flying ships. I don't know what
Oh,
they
the
call those.
cornucopter?
Yeah, like not the Thorcopter. The Thorcopter is horrible. That's a horrible design. I hate that thing. Like, but when they go to like when they're trying to get the spice refinery, I thought that was kind of neat how they handled that.
Oh,
Like
yeah. Yeah,
the
yeah.
first introduction of the worm, that whole section, like that facility, the way they made it and built it, I thought that was kind of a neat. Like I thought, like that actually gave me hope a little bit. Like, oh, this is actually kind of following the movie. Like I understand there's some cheesy effects as far as ships go. I'll let that slide. This is the early 80s. That for some reason I made a comment. I think like Blade Runner came out the year before this. Why does this movie look this bad? Like I don't understand. But
And way more money poured into this movie, I think, than Blade Runner, if I'm
I
being
don't know. I have to see. But yeah, I looked at
yeah.
I had facts for that actually up on my screen.
I would bet my bottom dollar on that there was more money spent on, um, on this movie than on
So
Blade Runner.
42 million was the budget according to Wikipedia, and then the box office was 30 to 37 million in North America. So they
Maybe
definitely didn't make their money back for sure. But I don't know what Blade Runner's budget was. But anyways,
in terms of sets, I love like they do a good job of giving you because the whole point, like when you're watching Dune or when you're reading the book, the Atreides come from a planet that's like always wet. It's like a water, not water world for instance, but it is like a planet where there is a lot of water, and they're going. The irony is they're going to a place where there is no water. But the like I think the way that they portrayed it was good enough because they always had it just like pouring rain outside.
mm-hmm,
It's enough to get that, ironic kind of contrast. But
mm-hmm.
I like the Atreides home. There's that set. And when they like the it's weird to say, but like the bedrooms, I think they did a pretty good job. I know it's better in the new ones, but I mean
Hard
they
to
did a
compare it.
pretty good job of like building the ambience of like, okay, we're moving into this place and it's kind of dangerous. Even the dart, the hunter seeker that comes to find Paul, um, like even that sequence was shot pretty well.
Yeah,
Like, eh,
it's all correct. I mean,
it
that's
feels
the
like a
thing.
big
It's the thing
struggle.
when
Feels like it.
they got the scenes right, they got them right. Like I mean, like I'm saying, like they did a good job at sort of depicting some of the scenes of the book almost really well, almost similar to other depictions of it. Like my favorite, obviously, I grew up with the miniseries, so like a lot of the shots that would show, I was like, oh, okay, I remember this because it's a similar kind of effect. Because the miniseries was kind of cheesy too, but like it fleshed out everything a lot more because you had a longer run time because of the miniseries. But like I just remember the shot with Maeve, and it's Maeve, right? That's the is that her name is Maeve, the lady that
Oh, Mapes. Mapes.
Mapes, not Maeve. Um, yeah, but like I remember like that whole scene with Paul and Mapes, and like, it's very similar to how they presented it in in this film too. So like again, they read the book. It's not like they just like, oh, Dune, and read the synopsis and made a movie. It's just I think they just couldn't figure out how to like fit a certain. They ran, like you said, they ran out of money, and they just kind of rushed everything towards the end. And again, we're just jumping to that rushing experience. Oh my god, like like.
Right.
But by the way, yes, but Blade Runner was made for $10 million less than this movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I looked it up.
And I bet if they wanted to make this movie, like continue like developing Dune into, a bigger movie or maybe even two movies, like it would have just like if they had like an unlimited budget, of course they would be like
Sure.
it would just keep racking up. But okay, let's not beat around the bush anymore. What's the worst special effect in this movie? Because
Oh,
there's a lot.
it's the shields. It's easily the shields. Like I mean, like I don't even understand why they wouldn't like don't even do the shields if they're that bad looking. Like seriously,
Yeah.
like what are they trying to show or prove in that is just like you could have just I'd rather them just hear me out. Them just shoot it as if there's no effect and just like they're constantly like acting as if there's a shield and not show any visual representation of it. Like I'd rather that. It still would be dumb and cheesy, but what they did in this movie, it's so bad. It's so bad. I don't even know how to describe it.
It is, yeah, it is like straight up just brown polygons around people, and we look like giant, like Minecraft people fighting each other.
Well, I said that looks like the video killed the radio star music or the what's
Oh,
the
yes, Dire Straits.
it looks like the Dire Straits music MTV, which came out probably around the same time, maybe a little after.
Oh, that's probably true. That's the Money for Nothing video. Yeah, that's about the technology I think that they deal with. But you make a good point. There are so many ways to do a personal shield. I mean, like I was thinking, like, I don't know if you ever like you played around in Photoshop, just like Tom Goes to the Mayor. I don't know if you remember that Tim and Eric show where it was just like stills of them with like the blue filter. Like anything, just color them blue. I don't
mean,
know.
even
Color
if they
them
just
gray.
even if they just
Yeah.
like did like an explosion flash every time like he hits something, it's just like a flash of light just happens. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, do that kind of stuff in post, not blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
there's
Like,
so many
really,
there's so many early stage CGI effects in this movie. Like too, like wasn't there a part where they put the shield up, and I'm like, oh, the game's coming from
oh yeah,
reboot.
just literally, and it's all brown. Why is it all brown?
I know it's
Like
like a
everything in
because
this movie is
it's
brown. It's
sand.
gross.
The sand makes the colors shit. Yeah,
But
okay.
it's like, yeah, they're putting up the shield walls. Like any other shield wall, like you turn it on. And theirs is literally, no. It's gotta raise up. You're watching the brown liquid still in the chamber.
Oh god. So I do as we're talking about this stuff, I changed my favorite set. This is my favorite set, by the way. It's that really narrow hallway that like like there's like a bunch of people squished inside and they just it's like
Yes. Oh, I'm
like,
so glad we're talking about that. It's literally a matte painting, right? Like a flat, not even 3D painting
like
of a tunnel really that's like enough for two people to fit in, but it goes on for like miles and it's filled
And
with people. And I'm like, how is this even? Is
why?
this safe on water somehow? Like, what the hell is
It's
this?
like a I think, what is the function of this? Like, I don't understand. Like, why it's so like. I wonder if the budget was so bad that they're like, well, we only have enough budget to do this much space on the film of people, so we're just gonna put walls.
You couldn't even see what was in the photo,
I
like
know.
in this painting that's supposed to be Paul like speaking to all the Fremen, this big epic speech. So they would show him up close,
Yeah.
up tight with him, and I forget what's his future
Stilgar?
wife.
Oh no,
No,
Shawnee.
not, well, yeah, Stilgar's Shoddy is there.
Shawnee.
Like they're like on either side of them, and her mom and his mom is back there too. But like it's like the four of them and some Fremen behind them, and he's talking, pronouncing, like what they're gonna do, and then it just pulls immediately back to this super like way wide shot of the matte painting, and you're like, the hell am I even looking at? Like you can't make out even people in there. It's just like the vague blur of images. You're like, yeah, if I stare at it, it's like through the rain. I could kind of imagine that looks like a big room of people.
I mean, I am so disappointed the way they handled all of that with Stilgar and the Fremen,
Oh,
and oh my god, like I have to say, like that was probably my favorite part in the miniseries with him like meeting Stilgar and them doing like them creating that like sort of relationship and trying to
yeah.
kind of prove himself to the Fremen, and it's really cool how it's handled, and it just happens. I know we keep repeating it, but it just happens. Like I don't even understand. I don't even know what was going
Minutes.
on. Like
Yep.
I know what's happening because I've watched Dune and I can fill in the gaps. But even as someone that knows the story from just the miniseries alone, which is like I said has all the information I really need, I get where they're coming from. Like how, but it happens in such a jarring pace. They're like, wait, what? You're like, what? I'm still just baffled by the
Yeah,
whole
this
depiction.
secret, hard to find, kind of, really like rebellious and dangerous group of people that are this mystery in the desert. Like basically Paul and his mom walk in and they're like, all right, come on in. Just like, yeah, join us. You're in. Like there is no resistance whatsoever. And that's why the first new Dune movie works, because that's the climax of the first movie
Yeah,
is Paul fighting his way, proving himself,
and
you
getting
know,
on the worm.
and gaining, like gaining entry
Yeah,
into the Fremen
which
society.
is gonna give so
That's
much
why
time
'cause it's
to flesh
important.
it out. Yeah, like you
It's
gotta think
actually important.
because like you think the miniseries, which was 6 parts. I mean, the first 2 parts I think were the assassination, and then you have like a whole part where it's just him getting introduced into the Fremen,
Yep.
and then it's the aftermath of him becoming the Muad'Dib and all that stuff. But like this movie, yeah, like because you have like a 10-minute montage of him training them to use the sound weapons, and
Okay. Let's
so
let's talk about the sound weapons because those were not in any way part of the Dune books,
no,
not in any other Dune media. This was
because
something made like just solely for this movie
because it's a
because
bad idea. It's a horrible concept.
the Atreides are apparently developing this sound weapon, and it's supposed to be like you're supposed to use certain words to have like vibrations, and they like can break rock, and they just go ah, like that, and it just breaks something. And we also learn when he's like showing it to the Fremen. That's probably the best part of the movie for me when Paul is showing that to the Fremen, and he's like, "Okay, like punch this rock," and the guy punches it, and he says, "Hit it with a knife," and he hits it, and nothing happens, and then he goes, "Yell at it," and then he goes, "Move!" Like that's like a legit funny part of the movie. And then he shows them like, what if I showed you like there's a way with sound we can have this weapon, and then one of them says his name later on. He goes Deep, and then like saying his name,
Yeah,
causes
because
something to explode.
well,
And
I
of
remember
course,
that
there's
rock
a
too.
monologue where he goes, "My name causes damage," whatever the stupid shit he says.
It's like and like I remember like that rock you're talking about. We made fun of that watching it because it's a very nicely like made stalactite. It's like perfectly like.
Perfectly smooth. Wait, how did you mind this if it's so like, impenetrable?
um, but yeah, like, oh man, like I they don't handle any of the conflicts in this movie very well at all. It like you meet the emperor like right away, and like the Harkonnens are we don't even know what their motivation is. Yeah, it's to get spice, I guess, but it's like the Baron doesn't even seem like a part in this movie at all. Like he doesn't have that menacing feel that
No,
any of the other
no.
barons have. Like he's just like, oh, I'm just gonna send this guy over and haha, like stupid
He's like
Atreides,
Henry
like
VIII. He's got this like Henry VIII vibe, like haha, like very I don't know Shakespearean
yeah,
villain, like
yeah.
just kind of acting to the
Oh man.
rafters.
What other questions you got? I don't know what else to say. We're just gonna
Well,
complain about it.
while we're mentioning the Baron, I think that it's not really touched upon in the book. I'm sure they probably said like he's got boils on his face or something, but and you get to see the doctor kind of just like I don't know injecting them with
Oh, I
stuff.
hate them. Yeah.
It's just like I get it. It's like let's show this disgusting, despised character, for what he is. But I wanted to just mention the eyebrows, guys. So there are two eyebrows dudes in this movie, and they're both mentats. Those are the human computers. They're
Mm.
like strategists. And for Baron Harkonnen, his is the actor who plays Wormtongue in the Lord of the Rings movies. And for Atreides, I forget his name, but his name I think in the book in the movie is Fufnir Hawat. But his are like massive
Yeah.
eyebrows, like
Oh yeah.
huge freaking eyebrows. And I always thought like that was like a hierarchy thing. Like the bigger your eyebrows, the better human computer you are, I guess.
It's extra data. It's more RAM. That's what the eyebrows are. It's bigger RAM.
Yeah. So, what other questions do I have for you? What was your favorite voiceover moment? Because there's just so many. Did you have one that you remembered being very good?
Well,
Mine is,
I think
mine is Paul Atreides saying, "My name causes damage," or "My
no,
name has
it was
power."
the interaction with him and his mom after they crash. It's like she's pregnant. I think he knows. It's like they're like they're like
You can actually just have this conversation. You're in a crashed ship about to die. Like, why not just say it?
oh god, it's so like at any time it's like I think that was where it was. It's when they both were back and forth whispering inside their heads, and there was
They're
like
having it.
it was
That's so
literally
tough.
like a 5 minute window of time where they're just fumbling around this very dark, cold, rocky desert, and it's like I, he just made the most weirdest comments within that. I don't remember half the things that they say in there, but it's just like it was just weird. The whole thing was just weird.
All
And
right.
again, oh,
I'm saving this one for the last thing, and then I
thank
think
you.
we can start wrapping it up
Okay,
because
we didn't mention Patrick Stewart yet, which I think is funny.
this is where it comes in. I think I just want to know who you think your favorite character was in this movie, and it's hard because I'm not asking you who's your favorite Dune character, and he was portrayed like okay. Who is the best character in this movie, or at least your
Oh,
favorite for whatever reason?
I don't. This is tough. Like I really
There's so little to
I
choose
don't
from.
I don't like any of them. I mean, I'll be quite honest. Like, can I just pick the navigator? Because like I don't know.
Yes, you can. He does have a speaking role.
I supposedly. I mean, I don't know. I guess like I would pick. Do you have one? I'm trying to. Okay, who is yours? Just do yours first.
Okay. I love Patrick Stewart in here as Gurney Halleck, even though he's really only on film for like 5 minutes total, like 2 minutes in the beginning, 2 minutes at the end. But it's Max von Sydow's character as the planetologist Liet Kynes. I just love his voice. I love
Mm-hmm.
he gets a very like tragic and quick death. Like they don't
Sure.
even
Yeah.
give him the time. They just rip open his
Oh,
suit
yeah.
and it's like okay,
Well,
but
Mapes too.
he
Like she
deserves
barely
all
is in the movie. I was like kind of disappointed. Like that's a relatively known actress. Like she's in things, right? Mapes. That
Yes,
actress.
yes.
Like she
He
shows
was
up
the
and she's
Rolling
gone.
Stone.
It
It's
was
a small it's a small she would have been, I think, a good Bene Gesserit, that
sure,
same actress.
sure.
Um, but I think, yeah, she's kind of underused in
Well,
this,
yeah, Maves
really.
has a bigger role. I feel like in the book, like she's around more. Like you kind of create a small relationship, so that means her death is a little bit more like, oh man, that kind of sucks. Like it's not like the end of the world, but it's like not like, hey, here's Mapes and now she's dead. Like you know,
Yeah, that's what it
um,
was. It was literally like
my
she was
my
shaking her hands like, "Nice to meet you." Ah! Like,
my answer, my real answer, it's a funny answer. I'm just gonna say the pug. The pug is my favorite
oh
character.
my gosh, I forgot about the pug. Whose pug is it?
I
Is
don't,
it is it Duke Leto's pug?
I don't know.
I
I
think
don't.
it is because
That
yeah, he's all in military dress at the very beginning, and it's like, all right, you ready for this? Ready, and they all go out, and it's like, where the hell did we get a pug from?
It's just in there randomly once in a while. Like it's like why is we're so worried? I was more concerned about the pug. Like
Yes,
is he safe? Is he all right?
where is Pugmay? Is he safe? Is he all right? Oh
Because
God,
when you
yes,
finally see Patrick Stewart again at the end of the movie with different hair, I think he's like got a beard or something,
he does
right?
have a beard, but it's like his like side hair, but it's long. You
Yeah,
know, it's still
it's like
nothing up
oh,
here.
so the
It's
movie's
long.
this whole 6 minutes we've watched has been like years. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
it's been like 2 years. Yeah, and 18 months of those 2 years happened in the last 15 minutes of the
Yeah,
movie.
that's generous.
So
15 minutes right there.
I liked your answer of the Navigator. I thought that they
Yeah,
were cool.
I thought
And you were right, like
initially they were
in the
cool.
initially in the book they never really describe what they are. That's like the point. It's like they're kind of this mysterious
Yeah,
entity, whatever they
it's just
do.
an entity of things that no one understands. Like that was
Exactly.
it's like very
Yeah,
abstract. It's like it's kind of like what you call it, like Gandalf's description of going through time and becoming one, and it's like that abstract
yeah.
depiction of something happening.
Yep.
You know, like it's
The
hard to
best
explain.
they didn't have to do that, but that's where you really see like David Lynch's like fingers on the film is like
That
it'll make
prop was so
it
freaking cool though. Like I have to say, like I was so ready for this movie because like that whole beginning, though it was weird, it was starting out like with the navigator, and the navigator has like sort of thing against Paul, and I don't that has no that is not a thing that happens in the books that I'm aware of. like
no. As
like
long as far as I know, no. It's like more you get more of the Bene Gesserit, like
yeah.
what their machinations are, what their plans are, and like if he doesn't work, this is the plan for, it's either him or Fade, that you have this kind of like push and pull, like who's it gonna be? But yeah,
Yeah, it was
so Sting wasn't your favorite character?
huh?
So Sting wasn't your favorite
I
character in
almost said
this?
Sting. The thing with Sting, it's like I understand who he's trying to be, and like I can see why they. I don't understand what their motivation is, though. It's like he's like the final boss at the end for some random reason. I don't know why.
He's just so like weirdly mad and happy at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like I just wonder what they were telling him. Like, do whatever you're doing, just do it more. Just make it bigger.
He's so happy in that speedo. I have to say. I mean, I'm sure you
Yes.
could look up the picture and the gif of him walking out. I'm like, okay, all right. I did like the depiction of the other guy though. That was a Varkanian. I can't remember his name.
Oh, the Beast.
Yeah, like
Beast.
I thought he was okay. Like I thought it was fine.
Okay.
But the Atreides family just seemed so wonky. Like it didn't. Like Julia was like barely in the movie, and it makes me mad. Like I was like, why is she not? Or sister? Is it sister? Is it
Oh,
Julia?
Alia. Alia.
No,
Or
no,
no.
the wife is
No.
Atreides, Paul's mom. Is it Julia or is it? I forget her name, but
I
Paul's
think,
mom.
but yeah, it's Jennifer?
It's something
Jessica.
with a
Jessica.
Jessica. It's a J. I knew it was something like that. But yeah,
Yeah,
Jessica,
she's
like
a
she's
big part.
does nothing, and then she gets pregnant and has a baby that's like grows up, and like it's like all of a sudden it's like a 10-year-old at the end of the movie, and like
And she's the one that goes and talks to the Emperor with her weird voice. And then at the very end, you see her just like around the battlefield going like, ah,
yeah.
like this with a knife in her hand. And you're like,
I mean, she does go crazy. I mean, I'll get her. I'll give her
Yeah, but
that.
that's like 2 books ahead,
Yeah, I
and
know.
it's like if you're
Yeah.
gonna bring her into it, like, you could honestly end the movie with the mother giving birth. Like, do you really need but that's the thing, it was just like, let's try and get as much of it in here as possible.
Yeah. No, like you could have ended the movie with her with a baby. I mean, that you don't even have to have. I don't even think that was part of Paul's thing at the end of. I don't. That doesn't happen till children are Dune, right? Like that
Yeah,
whole.
when his sister is old enough and she goes crazy a bit and she's
Yeah.
kind of, like, possessed by by Baron Harkonnen, like, it's weird. They explain it, it's all about, like, genetic memory,
Yeah.
and, like, crossbreeding of families and what it is to be, like, a Bene Gesserit. But you know what? This movie is just like, "Let me just piss all over that, and
Yeah, the
I'm just
Benny
gonna."
Gesserits, they don't get a good representation at all. It's like you have like one scene where his hand gets fried, which that was okay. They did that all right, but like the actress of the what's her name, whatever, I don't know the character's name, but like I don't think she was that great at that role. Like I've seen so many better depictions of like that scene is like the
Oh, the Bene
miniseries.
Gesserit
Yeah, like
mother?
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever her. I mean, her like using the word like the Jagger or what was that called?
Gum Jabbar.
The Jabbar. That's right.
Hold the Gum Jabbar at your neck, Justin.
Yeah, like I've seen the other two versions of that I've seen are so much like more scarier and like tense and all that stuff. Like in this, you got so things. You got really bad actor and Paul like didn't have any kind of emotion, whatever,
Right?
and doesn't know how to whisper really well in his head. Like I have to say that was a big part of it. But I don't know. Like I can go on and on. Like I feel bad because we usually try to be really positive with these things, but this movie was one of the rougher ones we've watched. I mean, I I
Alright, alright.
I,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
ask
I don't
you
have any other favorite things to bring up.
okay, two last questions, and we'll close the book finally on this movie, and we'll never watch it again.
Yeah, let's do the
Um,
miniseries next, please, or watch part two.
yeah, either of those would be fine with me. But okay, quick two things. So, would you recommend this movie? Who would you recommend this movie to? Okay, I will. Before you just say no, blanket no. Who would you recommend this movie to? Like, what type of person do you think would get something out of this?
I mean, people that are interested in Dune, I think it's something that you could do just to see like what people thought of this film back in the 80s. It's if you like David Lynch, I guess you could watch it. Maybe not, but I don't know. If you I actually don't really have too many people I know that I could recommend this to, except for I guess people that are okay with watching cheesy bad movies and want to just see like kind of like an older school type of way of doing effects, like where focuses on sets a little bit more and a little bit more in costuming, like we talked about. Like those are the things I think are
Yes.
worth your time. Just don't expect to be happy with the ending. I mean, honestly, the first half of the movie, aside from like bad shield fighting, like it's
Films
not
in general.
it's not bad. Like it's interesting, it's engaging. I mean, there's a story there because it actually follows the book relatively closer in the beginning of the film. So I think it's not. I don't think it was terribly long. So I would say I just maybe get some friends that that are good at like watching movies with. Don't watch it by yourself. Get some alcohol, get a couple drinks.
Yeah,
Like that. That would be probably the best time to watch this movie. But if you don't have a lot of spare time, there is a lot of other things to pick from. So I wouldn't put it at the top of your list for sure.
if you're yeah, I would agree with your assessment. Who would get something out of this? But yeah, for people who like it is still considered like an epic movie because of the amount of extras, the sets, the costuming, and there's still like some redeeming qualities there. Yeah, the CGI is terrible. Yeah, the effects are really dated, and it's hard to even imagine like anybody thinking this looked good.
Hmm.
Which is why I think it didn't do well. Like I think it was considered at the time probably a flop just because it's story problems. A lot of it is
Oh
just
yeah.
like, what story are you trying to tell here? Like I don't really even understand that.
I think
But
only people that liked it back then were Dune fans because I had a coworker that was probably about 10 years older than me, and he was really excited for Dune, the movie coming out, the newer one, but he would
Yeah,
talk
sure.
about how he loved this one so much because I think because he read the books and he just like it's like us being excited about I don't know, like just to give it a more recent example, I'm excited about Wheel of Time. It's not perfect, it's not great, the show, but I'm excited because I have a depiction of a book I love, so therefore I'm going to like it more just because of that. So like I think that's
Yeah,
how
you're just
Dune could have been kind of revered back in the 80s because maybe you had fans of those science fiction books because there would have been like what 10 books by that point, 6 books by that point.
oh
I don't know
god,
how
yeah,
many.
I don't know, maybe
So
6 or something at that point. But yeah, you're right. It's for people who like that series, and it's like this is what you got. You
yep,
got something.
yep.
And it was like a big Hollywood movie.
Hmm.
It's not perfect by any means, but you got something. You got to see some of those things that you
Yeah,
had read, and it's like now is the time for that movie to be made, like for sure. Like we
sure.
have all the capabilities to do that. Okay. Last question for you. I asked you, who is this meant for, or like who would get something out of this? Um, would you consider, like, I guess this is a weird way of saying this. If you had to choose from the movies that you and I have reviewed, and one in particular, I was really just going to ask you, would you watch this again or Spawn? Which
Spawn,
one
Spawn,
do you think?
easily
Okay.
hard stop.
Let
Spawn.
me-
Only because I have more nostalgia for Spawn for one. I've seen that movie like millions of times, and I honestly find like some of the things just I mean I don't know. Actually, no. I think you make me talk it out, and I don't like my. I don't like. I don't know. Maybe I'd watch this again just to see if I could see something new, because I've seen Spawn so many times. But I like John Leguizamo, and there's some really cool moments in Spawn. And honestly, there's some cheesy one-liners that I could get some enjoyment out of. And to be fair, though, take this with a grain of salt. Spawn at least has a relatively concise plot for the most part, sort of. It actually has like kind of a trajectory. You know where it's going. like
Yes, I'm just depressing myself thinking about like
plus, I'd rather
asking
watch
myself
a different Dune than this Dune. So that I don't have another Spawn to fight. That's what I
point.
mean. If I
Good point. This is like that's the only Spawn you have. So I wonder, like if I was to rank this, like to rate this against all the movies we've seen so far, that we've like kind of reviewed here. Well, all right. I think one that we were both kind of lukewarm about, I think we thought was going to be better, but it'd been so long, was Bloodsport. And
I'd watch
I know
Bloodsport
that,
again.
say that again.
I'd watch Bloodsport again over this.
Okay. Do you like the Charlie Chaplin esque, chasing
yes, yes.
through the village?
I would
Yeah,
say
those are
this Dune movie is similar to Event Horizon. Like they're kind of
okay.
on par. Like because that one even had the same problem where it like had two different movies in one. Like I
Yes.
wouldn't
Yeah.
want to watch Event Horizon again. I've gotten my fill. I'm okay. Bloodsport, I'd watch it again for fun, just because it is a kind of a you can zone out kind of a movie and that thing. If that's what we're kind of going for, yeah. Like I would say, Dune is definitely at the bottom of the barrel here as far as ones that we've watched. So there,
All right.
hopefully it goes up from here.
I feel like we have to have like a hall of shame, and like right now, like Event Horizon was like at the top of its field there, but now I think it's been dethroned
Yeah, we
with.
have to do a ranking. We have to do those tier things eventually when we get enough of these.
Oh
So
yeah, there we go. We'll
yeah,
do a whole tier list. Those are still popular, right?
yeah, they are. People still do them.
All right, let's bring it on home, Justin. Well, I'm
Okay.
very excited because if you're watching or listening to this, this is our penultimate episode before our 100th episode. So please stay tuned. Come back and check us out on YouTube or on our podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts from. We've got something very special planned for our 100th, and we're
Want to
really
guess
looking.
what we're watching? Go ahead and make a comment.
Oh yeah, if you think you know us, if you've been on this journey for a while,
We've
you might be able to
yeah,
guess
we've talked
because
about it
we're
before. We'll give
just
it. That's all we'll say. We've talked about it.
we've come full circle on a few things. We talked about Anaconda. We finally paid off on that. We
Yep.
talked about the Super Mario Brothers movie. We paid off on that. So now I'm excited to see what if people have anything to say, they have a guess for what our 100th episode will be about. But until that time, let's sign off. I'm Paul.
Not Atreides. I'm Justin.
Definitely not Kyle McLaughlin. All right. Have a good one. Thanks for watching or listening.